It looks like Santa's workshop in here.
I was just at Dee Dee's Discount.
Saving money again.
You know it, and they had all these fantastic toys.
Ooh, my son would go wild over this remote control car.
Well, this kitchen set is the same one I just saw somewhere else for a lot more.
Amazing! But who's this sweater for?
Well, that's for me. I figured since I saved so much money, I deserve to look good for the holidays.
Mm-hmm. And you did the right thing.
To find a location near you, visit dd'sdiscounts.com.
Blog Talk Radio.
It's here.
Hello?
Have you checked the children?
They're all taught, don't. Whatever you do, don't fall asleep. I'm afraid!
Don't be afraid!
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Gingy.
Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. Gentlemen, I am pain.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Have you checked the children?
Have you checked the children?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
I think he's in trouble.
Julie, this guy, if he can't take a joke, he stinks.
There's no more room in hell. The dead will walk here.
Look, just a flesh wound.
Hey, Flesh Wound Radio freaks. Welcome to another fright-filled episode of Horror Society Presents Flesh Wound Radio. I am joined, as always, by Todd Loya. Todd, how goes the day?
Today goes well. How about your day?
Oh, my day's going quite well. Not as interesting as yours, but good day. Yeah, you had an interesting house guest actually for any wrestling fans out there.
Kayfabe, not allowed to talk about it.
Oh, kayfabe. Okay, I did not know that, but nonetheless, interesting day. But yeah, we have a very weird selection of movies tonight for you guys. Weird is about the only way to describe it. So, yeah, you should be in for a good time. I'm not going to say good weird, bad weird, but definitely it's a very different week for reviews this particular week. But yes, I am. Well, actually, I should say I have had a really good week because I am going to Philadelphia Comic-Con, and they've had some pretty fantastic additions. A lot of Walking Dead going on, but I am excited to meet Nathan Fillion from Slither, and of course Firefly, and Carrie Elways of Saw and The Princess Bride for you more mainstream listeners out there. So two pretty solid additions that I'm pretty psyched for. So yeah, it's been a pretty good week, and we've had some interesting news bits actually. One in particular, because I just want to throw it out there for post-nuke fans like myself, I recently posted on one of the many Code Red Facebook pages, some secret, some closed, some, I'm sure there's some that I don't even know about, but I did recently post and get an answer, somewhat of an answer. Bill Olson didn't really answer me completely, but he did say that the next release coming is going to be Wheels of Fire. So that apparently is what's going to be coming next. The store is open, so I'm hopeful sometime soon. I don't know what's going on with them. How long has it been since we've had a new release, Todd? It's been a little while.
Yeah, it was the last batch went up when you were on vacation, so that would have been December, right?
December, yeah. Yeah. I was going to say it's been a long time, it seems. So So apparently that one's going to be next. A lot of people have been asking about Shakma and, God, what else does he have? I mean, I know obviously the Santiago stuff. Deadly Dreams, I think, is the other one.
Yeah.
Nothing to say about those. He said Wheels of Fire is first. Now, I don't know if that's responding to first of the post-nuke Roger Corman stuff, or first as in that's the next thing you're going to be able to order. But nonetheless, I thought I'd share that because nobody ever knows what's going on with them. So, no, he didn't give me any rough release date, though, unfortunately. So I have no idea. But I thought I'd throw that one out there. And actually, we have a big shocker that I didn't see coming. Todd, I guess you didn't either. Blue Underground, which Blue Underground has always been a fantastic company, but it just seems like their releases have been very sparse over the last couple years or so. So I don't know if they had said something beforehand, but nonetheless, the pre-orders for 3 post-nuke titles on Blu-ray that I didn't even know they had popped up on Amazon. You can actually pre-order them, and that is Escape from the Bronx, 1990 Bronx Warriors, Escape from the Bronx, and New Barbarians, all of which come out on June 30th. I'm a big post-nuke fan. Of course, I think March 3rd, we have Exterminators of the Year 3000, not one of the best ones, but nonetheless coming to Blu-ray from Scream Factory. So, yeah, those are up there. They're $29.99 right now, which is a lot higher than they'll end up being. So you may, of course, Amazon, you're guaranteed lowest price, but that'll definitely go down. And
interesting to note, this marks the first North American DVD or Blu-ray release of Escape from the Bronx.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was going to say I have the old Shriek Show DVDs for Bronx Warriors and New Barbarians, but that is correct. That one is very exciting that we're going to get it. I was out of nowhere.
I was thinking the new Gladiators. That's the one that Trauma has. I'd still love to see that one cleaned up. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to see that. What just occurred to me, this is the first non-catalog I mean, of course, they're all retro releases, but the first non-catalog release they've had in a very long time. I want to say since, at least as far as horror goes, the last one, I believe, was The Nesting, wasn't it? And that's been a good long while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's stuff that they had that Anchor Bay had previously done, like Rats and The Hell of the Living Dead. But I mean, they put those both out on DVD. Yeah, because a lot of those I know that they re-released on DVD, same version, just with their label. I forget about those because I still have the Anchor Bay discs on the majority of those. So that is true. That would make The Nesting the last one.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I'm very happy that one definitely floored me this morning. So.
We always overlook these because they are directed by the owner of the company, and that's Maniac Cop 2 and 3.
Yeah. Oh yes, that's true. So there have been some, but
not a lot. Not 3.
No, not a lot. It's been very sparse. I mean, Blue Underground were, at least for a time, a lot of people considered them the kings of the scene. So it's good to see. Good to see they're still churning them out. The post-nuke films of the 80s and into the early 90s are very underrepresented on DVD and Blu-ray. There's still quite a few that haven't come out. So.
Yeah. I guess we got to thank Mad Max for this, new wave. I'm just fingers crossed we get an Asylum mockbuster coming too.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I'm a post-nuke junkie. I hope Mad Max is successful. You love the trailer, I take it. I know I love the trailer.
Yes.
So I have high hopes that one's going to be something special. seems like we've been waiting for it forever, but seeing the trailer, I'm like, yeah, I have a really good feeling about this one. And yeah, I know Code Red, I think, has Equalizer 3000 also, right? I think that's one of the ones.
Yeah, they
got.
put it. Wait, that's the what? You said Code Red, Screen Factory.
Code Red.
Wait.
No, I think Code Red has Equalizer 3000.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking Experiment, or the one Freak Show's putting out. Or sorry, the one.
Scout Factory, yeah.
That Code Red had. That's okay. Yes, they do have
Exterminators
Equalizer.
of the Year 3000 from
Thank
Scream,
you.
and yeah, Equalizer 3000. I know Dune Warriors. I think Code Red has. I mean, when we'll see them, who knows? I'm kind of hoping that'll be a bundle pack purchase, but I don't know. That would be ideal to get them all at once. We'll definitely review them. Some other cool bits. Some of these we've announced already, so I'm just going to kind of skim through them, but they are up for pre-order now. Contamination is going to be hitting from Arrow on June 23rd. That's up for pre-order. The Arrow stuff, again, it's all up right now for like $40, but if it sticks to the way they've been doing it, that's gonna drop. They also have Island of Death arriving May 26th, Happiness of the Katakuri from Takashi Miike on June 16th, Society on May 19th. Even if it doesn't drop, I'm paying $40 for that. Spider Baby, June 9th, and I think I hit them all there. And the only other bits of release news, The Pyramid, the theatrically released horror movie that nobody went to see, comes out May 5th, and not really horror news, but a cool one for me. Chuck Norris, his film Firewalker, comes out April 21st on Blu-ray, which I'm a big fan of that one, so I was pretty excited to see that go up. Again, all a little high on the price point right now, but they will drop. So yes. And Todd, you actually have some release news from Scorpion, correct?
Yes, I do. Well, they finally. It's been a few weeks. I want to say it's been a few weeks back. They announced they were going to be having a release strategy for their upcoming limited editions of Candle and the Devil and Strip to Kill. So people were kind of waiting on those because those have been limited. And today on their Facebook, they basically made their announcement as follows: sub-updates on our limited edition Blu-rays. Starting with Candle for the Devil and Strip to Kill, all future Scorpion limited edition Blu-rays will be sold exclusively through Screen Archives, as I feel they will be best to handle shipping to all customers as well as taking pre-books and shipping them in a timely manner. All previous limited editions can be purchased from Diabolic DVD, as I will be arranging with them to fill up their orders on them. We look forward to working with the team of Screen Archives Entertainment for all future limited editions. MSRP for Candle for the Devil and Strip to Kill Blu-ray is $24.99. Pre-orders will be up on Screen Archives March 2nd at 3 p.m., and the Blu-rays will start shipping around March 17th. So, there you have it.
Yeah, the cool news, I guess. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I thought I heard earlier in the week, aren't they putting out, because I know the Space Raiders Blu-ray and something else I thought kind of had tanked, so now they're not going to be limited edition and they're coming to major outlets. Did I hear that?
It's Sword Eyes and Space Raiders are going to no longer be limited editions. And I don't know if this means what they have left they're sending out to Amazon and other retailers, which is kind of the way it sounded to me.
Yeah.
And the thing with those is, I know a lot of people would have preferred Diabolic as their retail source versus Screen Archives because of the whole Twilight Time stuff people aren't happy with. And with those two limited editions, their first two, those were only on the Kino site, and I think a lot of people were having hard time finding them. They did eventually show up on Diabolic, but yeah, I guess he's not going the route of Code Red, which is how they were doing them. I know that's how. Was that Sorority House Massacre was through his site? I know I ordered from there. So, but yeah, so this is the new way. I think the best thing about Screen Archives handling this is they seem, very efficient with okay, this is the day it goes pre-order, we know, and then ship out. My only worry is because they're on such a prominent site, are the scalpers going to be enforced and making it harder for us to get these titles?
That is possible. I was really surprised when he said he was going to do it through Code Red, and was Sorority House Massacre ever up on Code Red? Because I don't remember it ever hit on there.
No, I should have if I said it that way. They have their own Scorpion Big Cartel site.
Yes, okay, yeah. I was going to say that's where I ordered it.
Yes, because I know he did talk about selling some through the Code Red store, but then he opened up his own Big Cartel instead. Yeah,
I was really surprised when he even was considering that. I think, I don't know, Diabolic, I can't complain. I've never once had an issue ordering through Diabolic. So, Twilight Time, I can't say I've had an issue, but then again, I haven't really ordered a whole lot from them, so I can't, truly rate them as far as the company goes. But our wallets are going to be taking a hit, apparently, because, God, those price points are high. But like I said, I'm sure they're going to drop to probably 25. So, the Blue Underground stuff should actually jump even lower because I think most of their recent stuff has been around $18 or so. So
yeah, I think that's what God told me to, sticking right around.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But we will certainly have reviews for all of those because I know Todd and I are probably going to pick them all up. So definitely stay tuned for that. Let's see here. Well, we have some. Not a lot, but some interesting news bits. Apparently, and this one kind of surprised me, coming from Don Mancini, Child's Play 7 is apparently a go. After Curse of Chucky, which I liked very much, I did not expect that we were going to see another entry in the franchise. I figured we'd probably get the eventual remake and that was going to be it, but apparently on Twitter, Mancini confirmed that he's working on the screenplay for the 7th installment, and he didn't reveal any specifics, but stated that he's hard at work. Nothing really much to say about it, but I'm surprised actually. Todd, what do you think about that? Because I really thought the last one was going to be it.
I kind of thought we were going to get something more. I mean, because of the success. I don't know if I was, just hopeful, but I definitely look forward to seeing what they do next,
Yeah, I thought the last one was really good. I think it benefited from some great performances. I think Fiona Dourif was fantastic, and I'm happy that they're going to try and put out some more. It'll be interesting to see what kind of tone they go for with this one, if it'll kind of veer off into more, Bride of Chucky territory again, or if they'll try and make a more serious horror flick like the last one kind of was. So that'll be interesting to see. Another bit of casting news from Ash versus the Evil Dead, which I am literally counting the days, hours, seconds until we get this. And the Jill Marie Jones of Sleepy Hollow, which I watch and is a great show, just joined the cast. Starz announced today that she will play the role of Amanda Fisher in the series, which, of course, serves as the long-awaited follow-up to the classic Evil Dead trilogy. And it will be, again, premiering on Starz in late 2015. and a little details on her character. Following the murder of her partner, disgraced Michigan State Trooper Amanda Fisher sets out to find our anti-hero Ash and prove his responsibility for the crime. But as she soon learns, Ash and his cohorts may be mankind's only hope against the plague of the dead. So, obviously, this is coming together. I am more and more excited. I know Bruce Campbell's been talking about it lately. I am really excited. It seems kind of redundant to ask you, Todd, but I assume you're pretty psyched for this one too.
Yes, I am, and I'm counting the days just like you. I'm waiting for, as we both are assuming, October. That is late, this year.
They'd be crazy. I mean, I Halloween premiere. That would be a dream come true if they just premiered this Halloween night. And I sincerely hope that they have that same thought because, I mean, hell, Walking Dead, I believe, premiered on Halloween night. So, maybe that's a good omen for them to repeat that, and hopefully it's going to be insanely successful because I am so excited for that. But that's the entire horror community. So, let's see, other bits of news. Kind of a two-parter as far as the new Alien film. Apparently now it has been confirmed that Neil Blomkamp is officially directing the new Alien film for 20th Century Fox, and it's also been confirmed that Ridley Scott will be producing, and it will be following the events of Prometheus 2, which Ridley's working on now. And apparently, a lot of people I know I actually like Prometheus. I know a lot of people were disappointed because it really wasn't heavy on the alien stuff at all. It was really only hinted at, but apparently Prometheus 2 is going to be moving more into that direction. And, yeah, I'm very, very excited. I'm assuming Sigourney Weaver is going to be in this. And, with Todd, once again, a bit redundant to ask you, but are you excited about this? Because I think it's a great choice for a director.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they're gonna do it. So we're gonna get this before Prometheus 2, right?
No, because they said it's going to be following the events of Prometheus 2.
See, that's the thing that was throwing me off. I didn't know if we were getting that one first or kind of like how they were going to do it. But okay, if we'll get Prometheus 2, then Aliens. Okay, so it's kind of worried out.
The way they're saying that, I suppose it could come out first and follow the events of Prometheus 2, which I don't know, maybe don't have as much to do with it, just, in the timeline. But I would imagine Prometheus 2 is going to come first, though, because I know Ridley Scott's working on it. I think that's his next film, as far as I know. But actually, I'm looking forward to Chappie, which is, I think, Blomkamp did that one, and that's going to be coming out soon. So I'm excited. Like I said, the Alien franchise, some would say that doesn't extend to the Alien versus Predator movies, but the Alien franchise, I think, is pretty damn solid. I even like the third one. I mean, I know it's the weakest of the bunch, but it's still a pretty good movie. And I'm curious to see where they left off. I loved Resurrection. I wouldn't mind seeing Sigourney Weaver back with Ron Perlman, perhaps.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited. I hope I think they'll do it right. I really hope that Sigourney's in it. She still looks great, so I know she's getting up there, but I definitely think they should do it with her. In other franchise news, Todd, we have new Ghostbusters news.
Yes, we do. We'll start off with, the Ghostbusters franchise has always been tied to Saturday Night Live, and its 2016 reboot is certainly no exception. With 3 cast members already on board, it looks like another may soon be joining the mix. Film Divider reports today that director Paul Feig, I still can't get his name right, has a role in mind for current SNL star Cecily Strong, which is being described as a key supporting role. No word yet on if this deal has been made official. But here's what we do know. According to the site, Strong's role would be one of the biggest non-Ghostbuster parts aside from the villain, potentially being played by Peter Dinklage. She's an authority figure who lasses with our heroines, privately backing their activities and acknowledging their legitimacy, but publicly denouncing the group to the media in order to avoid panic amongst the wider populace. And Ghostbusters is set to be released July 22nd, 2016, with the new cast includes Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, Kate McKinnon, and Leslie Jones. So that's what we have to look forward on that front. And then the other bit of Ghostbusters news, which I don't know, will make the people who haven't been happy with all this Ghostbusters news give them a little bit of hope. Okay, so in other news that's bound to make you either cheer or cringe, Dan Aykroyd is still dead set on making the Ghostbusters 3 movie we've all been hoping as a reality. Aykroyd sat down this week at the Sirius XM studio for an episode of Unmasked with Ron Bennington, and shared a few more details. These wells are written, I should say that. There's 3 drafts of the old concept that exists, he stated, and we're going to be able to salvage some of it and use it. Yeah, we're going to be able to use it someday. Let's get this one, the reboot, made, and that will reinvigorate the franchise, and then we'll go on to maybe do something more conventional, 3rd sequel, as we're planning, and another idea I have for it. So, there you go.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not super hopeful. That sounded pretty vague. Even he seemed kind of like, don't give up hope. It's still possible. We really need a payday. So, I don't know. I just can't see Bill Murray doing it now. I mean, it just seems like he's held it off forever, and I just don't know if they're going to drag him out to do it. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things they could do. I mean, as far as Ramis being, passing away, I could kind of see them tying that into the plot somehow. Maybe a mysterious death. I don't know. I don't know if that would be kind of tacky or not, but I think I'd like to see it. I mean, again, it's just a question. It can't be much longer. I mean, holy shit, Ernie Hudson's like about 70 or pushing 70, so it's getting to a point where if something's going to happen, it's going to have to happen pretty damn soon. But
yeah, I'd like to believe it's true, but it's just, and now, and we both know, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson will do it in a heartbeat. One you can't use because he's, passed. And, getting Bill Murray to do it, that just seems, difficult, to say the least.
Yeah, he just doesn't do commercial films anymore. I just don't. I mean, and assuming the Ghostbusters reboot is successful, I don't see the studio being, let's make Ghostbusters 3. I think they're just going to start focusing on Ghostbusters 2. So I'm not quite sure how Aykroyd thinks this is going to happen, but nonetheless, they obviously haven't given up hope yet, and we shall see. So I think that is all we have for news correct, Todd? I'm not missing anything?
No, that's all I had, and I'm pretty sure we are covered in the news department. Yes.
Okay, well, I guess we will get on to the reviews, and the first one is a solo review for me, and this film is Arkham Sanitarium, Soul Eater, from director Julian Grant, and this film follows Arkham Sanitarium, which was vacant for years after H.P. Lovecraft-inspired sex and death cult was arrested for committing heinous acts on patients. Today, paranormal investigators are trapped and battling malevolent forces as they grapple with the very creatures created by Lovecraft. So this was kind of a last-minute review for us. It was not one we really had planned. To be quite frank, and I wish we had a news update for it, Motivational Growth, which is the new Jeffrey Combs horror flick that apparently has been canceled. I know Todd and I were eagerly anticipating the Blu-ray release, which still, Todd, correct me if I'm wrong, is still not. It just disappeared, I believe, or something. So
it's just listed as it's still listed, and that and the DVD are listed as temporarily out of stock. So honestly, it looks like it might have just been a release date push. So there's still hope.
Okay.
It will be coming.
Well, we'll definitely have that one for you. So I think I posted maybe a couple places that we were reviewing that early in the week. So, we apologize. I should have said that at the start of the show, but that one didn't come. So anyways, I'm a big H.P. Lovecraft fan. It's actually, aside from Clive Barker, really probably the first horror literature I really started reading when I was younger. And needless to say, we've had countless Lovecraft adaptations in film. I highly recommend Lurker and The Lobby, a great book, reference guide to some films that you wouldn't even realize were inspired by Lovecraft. And quite a few have been not so great, particularly on the indie scene as of late, but I was excited about this one. It seemed like a kind of unique premise. It is another found footage movie, shocker, and it kind of opens very, very serious. It kind of appears like it's going to be a traditional found footage spook fest, and strangely enough, this one does a complete 180. In fact, this is basically a horror comedy. It goes from all this typical ghost story setup with the paranormal investigators are a husband and wife team who are their marriage is on the rocks. She apparently slept with their partner who has snuck into this asylum to shoot and kind of screw them over on their work. And that part I felt it was a little bit unnecessary, the whole cheating subplot. I just think it kind of bogged things down a little bit. But as it goes on and we kind of meet the threat, some of the creatures and this strange Cthulhu-masked killer, it actually kind of picks up. This is not a good movie by any means, not a traditionally good movie, but it gets really crazy and out there from a Cthulhu style mouth raping that starts the killer puts this creature on the lady's face and it goes to town. It is actually funny the way this is played. It sounds disturbing, but it's actually very goofy and weird. There's some trippy claymation visuals, and it's a tough review because I don't want to pass this one off that it's a really good movie. It's not, but it does get so weird that I was kind of entertained by it. everything from a Cthulhu birth and Ron Fitzgerald, the magician, who has appeared in a few B movies like Magus and a few others. He shows up in this. It's super low budget. It's very. Some people are going to find it pretty uneven because, like I said, it starts off as a fairly traditional horror movie, and then they've got the partner in particular that's cracking all these ridiculous one-liners, and it's very, very strange. It's one of those movies that I just feel as though I don't know what the hell if this was intentional humor or unintentional, but I don't know. I kind of got this one. I would have been really curious what you would have thought of this one, Todd. It's not going to by any means stand up to some of the better Lovecraft adaptations, of which there have been a few recently, like slipping my mind. I think it's The Whisperer in the Darkness, which I thought was really fantastic, and there've been a few others in recent memory that have actually been pretty good. But it's entertaining. That's all I can say. If you really want to watch just a goofy, strange as hell little indie movie, you might enjoy it. I don't know. It's something that just worked when it really shouldn't have. The acting is all pretty solid. Like I said, some people may have some issues with it, but I think it's more just the bizarre 180 that the film kind of does. There is some CGI blood spatter, which, is never good in a low-budget movie. You like to see people do it the traditional way, but it's, like I said, it's just so out there that with the visuals and everything that I didn't really mind that. There's a scene where a woman is beating the crap out of this cheap-ass octopus with her boyfriend's severed arm, and then she pukes on it. There's a few weird out there moments that just kind of made me appreciate this film. Will you? I don't know, but I will throw it out there. If you have Amazon Prime, I noticed this one is free to watch, at least as of now, which is strange because it's a fairly recent release, but you don't have to pay money to see if you actually like it. It's fairly short. It's a chemical burn title, I believe, so it's only around an hour and 15 minutes. Even if you hate it and you're like me, you have to see all the Lovecraft adaptations, you might want to give it a shot. I was entertained. I can't go super high on this, but I'm giving it 2.5 stars. I watched it for free. It was very different, and I got some laughs out of it. So, 2.5 stars for Arkham Sanitarium, The Soul Eater. So, moving on to our next film, which is Camp Massacre from director Jim O'Rear, and this is another indie film that follows 10 morbidly obese contestants who appear on a weight loss reality show at a summer camp. As contestants disappear in the night, it becomes clear a killer is on the loose. So, Todd, what did you think of this one?
Should I just jump in on the runtime and start off there?
Yeah, that is definitely something that needs to be pointed out. Okay.
All right. I have to say, when we discussed reviewing this title, most indie films, especially little, camp slasher thing, you expect an average runtime. Honestly, nowadays, about an hour and 20 minutes. In the heyday, maybe an hour and a half. But this thing clocks in at 2 hours and 9 minutes. So it's not your quick little slasher, quite the opposite of the last one Dan was just talking about. And it's not the worst thing I've seen. It definitely could have used some some stuff chopped out for pacing reasons. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It needed. There's a couple things about it. Okay, I'm being nice. We got some nudity and some okay gore effects. I don't think anything was mind blowing. The acting was some. It was okay here and there. I mean, some of it was over the top. We had the old wannabe rapper dude, the old white guy who thought he was. Yeah, I don't know. It was definitely.
You had Fat Twilight, which was interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And then I didn't even know what the hell he was with his one-strand braid. And I did watch this one with a friend, and he dead on knew the killer right away. I was like, I don't even know how I overlooked that. So
yeah,
did you notice that right away too, Dan? You're like,
yeah,
okay, no, it's gonna be.
It was pretty obvious to me who the killer was going to be in this one, but
I think what I got stuck on was the first time we see Buckethead. I guess we'll refer to him, not to be confused with the famous guitar player.
The killer has a KFC bucket on his head. Yes.
So if you're a fan of the Corn Bugs and Bill Moseley's music, Buckethead is a guitar player. I wonder if they were influenced by Buckethead. I guess we won't know since we didn't get any behind the scenes. But at first, because he was kind of doing some wrestling moves, I guess, kind of like, I was like, is this going to be Al Snow in the act? but I was figuring they'd have him for one day, have someone standing in for him. So I kind of got stuck on that until he actually showed up. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that could have been cut out to sort it up. Specifically, while I didn't wish, I'm not saying they should have cut it out, the Al segment was pretty, you wouldn't have missed anything if that segment wasn't there, because he just kind of shows up. Sorry, this is a bit of a spoiler, but he just kind of shows up, does his little part, gets killed, and that's it. So it definitely was not needed.
It is a spoiler, but at the same time, I feel this is a proper warning for people that might be going in to see this. Al Snow and porn star Brie Olson are on the front cover, heavily featured, and they're both in it for about 2 seconds. So, Al Snow was in it a little bit longer, but it's essentially showing up for a scene. So, for anybody that's going in, it's like, oh wow, I really want to see a Brie Olson or Al Snow horror flick. You're not getting it here. They're by no means the star of the film.
This isn't Roddy Piper and Keith David or David Keith. David Keith.
No.
Yeah. So okay, well, I kind of gave a little bit, but curious. You're a little bit more lenient on it, coming from the making a few independent features. So, what are your thoughts? I'm curious, and this one I was really curious about, because we always complain about the lack of nudity in something like this, and you can't really say it on this one. We get it pretty quick and pretty constant.
Yeah, you did get. They delivered the goods. I mean, again, having done small movies, smaller than this even, really. I mean, we didn't have a lot of big name stars, but never. 2 hours, 9 minutes is just ridiculous. That was a huge blunder. I don't know why on earth they thought that was a good idea. Because it's just not. There really isn't that much story there. And again, you kind of know who the killer is, and but I'm not totally harsh on this. One thing, I love the idea of it, having a slasher movie with all of these, big, heavy-set dudes. I thought was really clever. I love the idea of the characters, actually. I thought, like I said, they call him Fat Twilight in the movie, the kind of emo dude. I thought he was really funny. You kind of have the mob boss dude who has a particularly gross sex scene. He has sex while eating fried chicken, so there's a whole lot of titty action going on there, but not the the kind of titties that I think you want to see. But the girl looked good. So, yeah, I mean, the humor worked most of the time for me. I thought Rockefeller, a.k.a. Two-Ton, the elderly, obese rapper, I thought he was funny. It's definitely one of those movies I could see Troma picking up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, and they would know enough to cut it down, though.
Yeah, it could definitely be cut, very easily cut. It's one of those things. I was just really disappointed because it is such an original idea. I like the characters. I could have followed them through, a 90-minute movie, no problem. But that runtime, man, it's just. I mean, for all my brief foray into, micro budget horror flicks, and all the issues that I've had, we always knew, keep the runtime, realistic. I mean, even 70 minutes sometimes is long enough for an indie horror flick, and I don't quite know why they did that here, but yeah, I mean, Jim O'Rear certainly has made quite a few films. Strangely enough, most of them have stayed in self-distribution. I can't say I've seen anything like overly fantastic from him, but they're really not bad. And like I said, if you like the Troma-style humor, a lot of toilet humor in this one. There's the gore is old school. It ranges from the typical, as I'm used to, the animal guts that you can pick up at the local grocery store, cut, and then they fall on the shower floor. Actually, it was really funny. We had a kill just like that in Ghoulish Tales, where, it kind of shower kill and guts fall out. It works. Like I said, if you appreciate very basic, sort of early SOV horror effects,
nailed
that's
it
what you get
right
here.
there. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, because it's hard for me to say, okay, good gore effects, because I mean, I wouldn't. While I enjoy that, SOV stuff and that style, when I say good gore, I think people are going to go with, classic, Savini and just more practical, like make-up-y gore versus, like you were saying, like the guts and stuff, which both are appreciated. They're just different styles. So SOV is the best way to describe that.
Yeah. And I mean, when I wrote the script for MILFs vs. Zombies, it was originally a lot more epic in scope in terms of the gore and, some of the fight scenes. And, we just didn't get the budget, so it ended up being a little bit more along the, SOV line, which, again, is not a bad thing. I mean, people do like that. And, yeah, I didn't have an issue with it. Like I said, there's no CG in here, that at least that I remember. So, if you appreciate that, you might like it. Nothing like super creative in terms of the kills, but they were decent. And like I said, Brie Olson, who, of course, was one of riding front and center on Charlie Sheen's Ho Train, she does show up. She gets naked. Brie Olson, though, has had a fantastic career. I mean, her IMDb is insane. I mean, classics like Manaconda 2 and the Oscar-winning Tinker with My Stinker. This one doesn't quite live up to the artistic quality of Tinker with My Stinker, but it's close. It's close. I still favor Tinker with My Stinker, which I just want to keep saying that one because I just saw it on IMDb and it.
And I'm sure it's already been ordered at this point.
Oh, sure, of course.
Yeah, I know.
And updates on Facebook.
Yeah. See, that's where my problem lies with this one. I didn't hate it because I know what I was watching. it's that runtime's such a killer on it, and it needs to, you nailed it with the Trauma because it's that style. I mean, if they picked up something like this, they could cut it into something a lot more entertaining. Because it moves too slow, and cutting 45 minutes out of that thing, and I think you have a manageable feature that, while I still probably wouldn't recommend to everyone because it isn't everyone's cup of tea. I think you can have something, to at least have fun with, drink a few beers, whatever you do, and just enjoy it for what it is. And you already got 40 minutes of deleted scenes you can throw on that thing too.
Yeah. I don't know if they could cut 40, but they could certainly cut quite a bit. There were certain portions where it's just like nothing was moving along with any kind of sense of urgency. But well, I guess we'll rate this one. I guess before we get into our, I guess we'll probably do our musical break after this. I'm going to be generous because I was entertained and give this one 2.5. I can't go higher than average just because of that issue, but I was watching it thinking, this really does work. It just needs an edit job. Otherwise, I would have been perfectly fine with this one. Like I said, it's a kind of a no-brainer for Trauma as far as I'm concerned. But Todd, what do you give it?
I'm pretty close here. I just have to go with 2. It's just a little bit below. The things that work are I'm stuck on that runtime, and as it sits, it's just not something I can really recommend. I mean, unless you have a high tolerance for this type of, low budget fare. And there's not many. I think a lesser reviewer may have stopped when they checked. Is this thing still on? It's on, 2 hours and 9 minutes. But again, while it wasn't torture, I mean, when Sledge was one we had watched and we were both like, okay.
No. Well, Sledge had nothing though. Sledge was probably more like 80 minutes. That one felt like 2 hours, 9 minutes.
Exactly, and that's the one thing I will say is it had a better look to it, I think.
Sledge?
Yeah, I do remember the camera-wise, it looking a lot more clean.
Yeah, I think I gave a 0 though to Sledge because goddamn, and that had some positive reviews online that I just cannot fathom, but yeah, like I said, it is a low budget movie, but I thought the characters were really creative. It's one of those ones I'm looking at and thinking, this would make a great remake. Remake something small like this that doesn't quite work because the idea of it, the premise is really just cool. I guess it kind of falls in a fairly small genre of fatsploitation. It's kind of funny, and it's kind of funny, and it works. Like I said, for the Trauma crowd. So yes, Todd, I guess we can probably do our musical break now and pick up on our next review.
That sounds like a plan. And tonight, speaking of Trauma, we've decided to go with, we should be getting it on Blu-ray soon, I believe. I know we got an announcement it was coming.
Yes.
And that is the Trauma Team classic, Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD. So we'll get into this jam, and we'll be back in just under 4 minutes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
back.
I'm wearing a dress. First I'm kissed by a guy. Now I'm wearing a dress. Fine.
Hello?
I forgot about the tag at the end of that song.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, that doesn't sound like Todd.
Yes, I completely forgot what I was saying. Okay, now we're back.
Now we're back. I was gonna say, wait, what the fuck? I thought I heard Todd, and then it doesn't sound like Todd.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yes, that's they comes from the tunes from Toxic Tunes from Tromaville. So there's a little clip from the film at the end that I completely forgot about.
Well, there we go. We're sorry to not to start a little bit early and interrupt the voiceover at the end of it, but nonetheless, we are back. All is good in the world, and I also forgot to mention on Camp Massacre that Dick Warlock also shows up for a little bit more than just a cameo. So yeah. Excuse me. That is a movie that was a tough review for me. I was very disappointed in thinking, God, that could have been really fantastic, but for a trauma lover, but nonetheless, we got what we got. So our next film, which I should preface this by saying this is not an asylum film, despite the title. Although they did rip off 50 Shades of Grey as well, but they called it Bound, which I was surprised. They had their 50 Shades mockbuster that they didn't really take advantage of the title. But this film is a darker 50 Shades The Fetish Set from directing team Shane Wheeler and Bradley Barker. And this film follows 4 beautiful women who attend a fetish convention hoping to make some easy money, but they find themselves thrown into a dark underground world of obsession and murder when a deformed, sadistic serial killer played by Bill Oberest Jr. sets his sights on the quartet. Now their friendship and personal limits will be torn apart as they struggle to survive the most brutal weekend of their lives. So yes, this is from Wild Eye Releasing, who have really been churning them out as of late. They've kind of been a force on the indie scene. And, so this is a very strange film. It's actually, Todd and I watched it right before showtime. We had saved this one for last. Being the kinky bastards that we are, because surely enough it had to be the best movie. Well, this one opens up very trauma-esque. From the opening 5 minutes of this film, you see a girl who's smoking a cigarette with her pussy. You see a woman that is defecating. Oh, wow, my cat's angry. I apologize.
Angry
my
pussy.
Cat, I don't know where he is, but he is losing his shit over something. But anyways, moving on, there's a girl that actually takes a shit on a teddy bear. So, yeah, I was watching this, I'm thinking, okay, well, it's kind of a trauma theme this week. Very odd humor to kick it off. But surely enough, that's not really the tone of the film. It kind of goes into more serious territory. Very low-budget film, as you can tell. I mean, most of it's shot in a cheap motel. Bill Oberest is one of the best actors right now on the indie scene. He's had a few real breakout roles as of late in Children of Sorrow, I think, was probably his big breakout role as the cult leader. Very creepy performance and, actor. He was great in Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies as Abe Lincoln.
Yes.
He's the highlight of this movie for me. The problem is he doesn't really show up until the end of the movie. So you don't really get that suspenseful cat and mouse thing going, and it doesn't really continue with the kinky, nasty toilet humor at the beginning. So it's a very uneven, disjointed kind of movie. I will say I really liked the actresses. I thought they did a pretty admirable job, but unfortunately, this movie just really doesn't work. It's literally right at the very end. You get a twist, and you get to see some creepy moments from Oberst, some toe-sucking action, and what's become a very bizarre theme for such a fugly dude. He does full frontal nudity in this, which he's done a few times, and I find it quite odd. I guess there's an audience out there that wants to see the dude, but it's not me.
At least he didn't sneak it into Abraham Lincoln vs. Zombies.
That is true. Yeah, we don't see Abe's dork in that film, fortunately, but we do see it here. Yeah, Todd, what did you think? Because this one just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I agree. And the first thing I do want to say, because I know we mentioned the Asylum mockbuster thing, it was shot as the Fetish Set. I think Wild Eye tacked on the what is it? A darker 50 Shades, which my wife clued me into. The second book is 50 Shades Darker in that actual series. So I'm guessing that's how they. Yeah, I didn't know that, but.
Well, you saw the movie. I haven't seen it, so.
Thank you for calling me out live on air. Yes.
Well, you had to. It's Valentine's Day. Todd is married. He had no choice.
They timed that movie perfectly. Could they? There was no way any guy could be like, nah, I'm cool. Go ahead.
I sat in the back of the theater incognito, and there's a dude with an afro who got a very unpleasant present on the back of his afro, and I felt bad about that. But, I wore a hood, made sure. I don't think anybody saw me, but
Well, that's good. Now back to what we're actually reviewing. Yeah, I agree with you. We had a really good opening. I didn't know where we were going to go from there. And I know you'd messaged me right after the opening. I was like, I can't tell him. I'll let him discover it on his own. And, and like I said, too, then we have a lot of talking in the middle. And it's not till Bill shows up that we actually get going with, the story. And that was really disappointing because you'd mentioned he is the highlight of this. And he's been, pretty solid on the indie scene right now, and his name is above the credits in this. I was thinking we'd get a lot more of them, and honestly, if we would have, I think we would have probably ended up enjoying this more.
Yeah, it
was almost like too little, too late. By the time we finally get him, we're already, okay. It was cool, but it was we had sat there and watched all this stuff, and then you have the concept of there's a killer loose in an S&M convention. It's more like
never see the convention.
I guess it's like even in Jason Takes Manhattan, we eventually get there.
Yeah, that might be a good idea for the next Friday the 13th. Just have him carving up like some S&M leather glove. It could be a cool idea for the new mask. Just stick Jason in the Camp mask and see how the Friday the 13th fans react.
I'm going to go with not positive. Get him a leather, workman's outfit, black hockey mask.
This Friday the 13th, Jason's bringing the pain and the pleasure. Hey, if anybody's listening, I came up with that. I expect a check. But yeah, this is one of those ones. I should also throw out there, it's dirty. I mean, there's a lot of nasty dialogue and everything.
Yeah.
But it's not particularly titillating. So if you're like picking this one up for the nudity, I mean, it's there, but this isn't anything that I see somebody wanting to pick up because of the nudity. The girls are okay looking, but it's just not something that I see anybody like picking up because you're going to get tits.
Yeah, I think we had much better nudity in the last in Camp Massacre.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and we didn't have Bill Oberst doing a pee-pee dance on the top of a car, so it's that I think they lose a star just for that, because there was an awful lot of Oberst dick flopping going on.
Yes.
And then, like I said, he comes and goes, no pun intended. It's not he's not in it very long. Yeah, for me, I wanted to be a little more generous with this one, because, like I said, the performances are pretty good, and Bill Oberst is fantastic. Not always in fantastic movies, though, because I have seen a few crappy flicks with him in it. But I can't give this one more than a 1. I mean, and like I said, just the bizarre opening. I don't know what the director was going for there, because, I mean, again, it's a very serious toned movie after that. Yeah, I can't give it more than a 1. I mean, there's a twist. There's a good movie there, I think. Again, it's another one that I feel like, hell, maybe take another shot at the same concept. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you dead on this one. I gave it a 1 myself. It's just not there. I had higher hopes for this one. I guess I got a less hope with Bound. I mean, that's one we will not be reviewing unless with popular demand you really want to hear how Asylum's take on 50 Shades was.
Well,
let us know.
If you want to see Todd review 50 Shades, you can request it on our Facebook page.
And moving on. Yes, and yeah, I don't even know what to say to it.
Hey, I looked at the Mr. Skin report on it, so, hey.
Yes, I'm sure I will be seeing the complete trilogy unless they're going to figure out a way to split up the last book into 2 also, like every other series they do.
$94 million, I think this is the most successful softcore porn ever made, so, hey.
Yeah.
But, yes, 1 and 1 stars from us on A Darker 50 Shades. Not worth picking up. I can't see, like I said, even people looking for exploitation purposes. It's just not there. So yes, moving on to our next film. Definitely the highest budget in terms of new movies tonight, and that is Poker Night from writer-director Greg Francis. And in this twisted thriller, young detective Jeter becomes an unwilling participant in a sadistic game of cat and mouse when he is kidnapped by a masked serial killer. In order to survive, the detective must use the wisdom imparted to him by senior detectives on their regular poker night. So this is... Todd, did you go first last? I don't want to be rude by jumping into this one.
I don't recall, but you go for it.
All right, I will go for it. I was just like, God, I'm trying to remember. I couldn't remember who went last, but my cat is still losing his shit. I've got to figure out where my cat is. All I'm hearing is like bloody murder in the background, and it's distracting me. But anyways, moving on. Yeah, so Poker Night was another one I think we were going to review last week, but unfortunately the Blu-ray wasn't available at local retailers. So yeah, this is kind of a police procedural, and it's formatted very differently. I mean, you could kind of call it almost an anthology sort of thing, because you from the very beginning you see him get abducted by this serial killer, and there's no mystery to who the killer is, so I'm not revealing anything. He is who he is, and it's played by Michael Englund, who I think is one. Again, he doesn't just act in indie stuff, but one of the better genre actors out there right now. He was the killer in The Call with Halle Berry. He was in The Divide, The Day, a lot of WWE films actually. Just a stellar actor. So he was the man behind the mask and did a great job as always. And yeah, this one kind of keeps jumping back and forth to him kind of unsuccessfully at first, trying to escape from this killer, and jumping back to this poker game where these cops are telling stories of how they took various killers down and brought them to justice. And during many of these stories, the actor, the lead actor, I'll think of his name in a minute here, Bo Mikoff, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but who played Jeter, is kind of like in their shoes for a lot of these stories, so he's like the one doing their stuff, which is a bit disappointing because this has got one hell of a cast, from Ron Perlman to Giancarlo Esposito of Breaking Bad fame, who's fantastic, Ron Eldard, a couple other actors that you'll recognize their faces if you don't recognize the names. Stellar cast, great acting. I like this one quite a bit, actually. It is different in its format, but it kind of worked. I mean, the separate stories are pretty basic. I mean, there's not like a big twist or structure there as far as a storyline per se, but it works. It works pretty good, and you get to see these guys in action. Perlman's fantastic as always. Kind of always plays the grumpy badass as he does here. I don't want to say too much about the ending, but there is hope for a follow-up in this one, which I wouldn't mind seeing. Yeah, I will throw it out there. This isn't really a slasher flick, as some people might suspect from the cover and everything. There are a few pretty nasty gore moments, though. It's not a torture flick. It's not, again, it's there, but some people may have a different idea of what this is. It's a thriller, and I thought a pretty good one. It is, like I said, it is different, and that's always great to see because there's a shit ton of police procedurals out there. So to see somebody do something a little bit different and clever with it, I thought was admirable. Todd, what did you think? Todd? Oh, well, I think we may have lost Todd, or well, this is Blog Talk. We do apologize. Blog Talk's been... Oh, you there?
Yes, sorry, Dan. I don't know what's going on. Apparently we're having technical issues with Blog Talk tonight. So I did disappear.
Okay, you heard me, though.
I missed a little bit at the end.
Okay,
so,
well, I was passing the baton off to you. I just said, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm assuming I really like this one. I liked the format, that it was different. It wasn't just a typical, A to B story. We did jump around and kind of got to know him as we went along. And you already mentioned the cast. I mean, it was a great cast. I liked the poker group, and I liked how we got to know them, and they're all, passing on their wisdom of being a cop in the force. And even our lead character, Jeter, being the reluctant, hero, and, how he basically ended up as a detective. It was all very interesting, and it was not your typical horror film. It's more, that thriller, Silence of the Lambs type suspense versus, just straight up slasher, which, and I know you mentioned the cover might lead, you to believe otherwise. And the label, I believe it's Macabre. This was Macabre who released this, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So they tend to, have that more of that genre type stuff. And this was a little bit, if you're looking for a blood and guts slasher, this is not it. But an interesting story with some cool characters, and I think you're right, though. I think some people won't like the segmented nature of the storytelling in this.
Yeah.
But I think that was a really strong point on this, and made for an interesting film, because, you can't really just tell that narrative straight, because, otherwise you'd have the poker scene and then kind of just move on, and that, wouldn't work for this one.
Yeah, and it particularly benefits from kind of multiple twists at the end. A couple things you've probably seen before, but ultimately it was actually very surprising. It doesn't quite, you're thinking, oh, okay, well, it's going to end here, then it didn't. And I thought the ending was quite clever, and it has a super strong lead. Again, Michael Englund. If you're casting a villain of any kind, he's about as good as they come. If you're not familiar with his work, I highly recommend you check it out. Kind of always tends to play the villain, at least as far as I can remember, and he does a hell of a job. I think he stole the show in The Call, personally. And, yeah, it's not going to work for everybody, this format. I know, Melissa, who I used to review with, really kind of hates these sort of fragmented, kind of Pulp Fiction style stories where it jumps around. But I liked it. I thought it worked great. This isn't a film, I can't go super, super high and call it a classic, because I never felt that the suspense really reached that boiling point, but at the same time I cared about the characters, I cared about their fates and everything, and it does have a couple nasty bits, from a guy getting super glued to a wall, and some pretty nasty gun violence here and there. So it's not completely without the red stuff for you guys. I give this one a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really good. By far the best new movie of the night. Yeah. But they had more money, so you got to be fair to the indies.
It's funny, because I had a 4, and I still am sticking with my 4. I have jotted down. I wonder if we would have reviewed this on a stronger week, because I believe it was 2 weeks ago. Pretty much everything across the board was really strong. I know the week we did Open Windows and a few others, and I think that was the week. Everything across the board was really strong. I wonder if this would have been in a week like that versus a weaker week, how it would have fared. So I don't know if we're kind of swayed on compared to the other stuff. I know I still would have liked it a lot, but I may have, dropped it down just a little. But
I can't really think of anything bad to say about this movie, though, again, except that not everybody likes that style. And that's all I can say. By the end, like I said, I thought it had great twists, and it's one of those ones that, again, you're obviously a horror fan if you're listening here, but it's something that maybe your spouse, wife, husband, whatever, maybe likes, some of these Law and Order type shows, but kind of want to see that, or Criminal Minds is probably the better example, and want to see that told slightly differently. It's probably a good recommendation. So, yeah, I enjoyed it, and I should also point out it had a couple funny bits as well, with Michael Englund telling the story of his life, and he's in his weird-ass leather mask going to work.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that bit was pretty funny. Not a lot of comic relief in this movie, but I thought that bit was pretty funny.
Yes, I agree with that. That was definitely a part I really liked that they did, because, we don't really, have the reveal yet, so that was the perfect way to do it and then get a bit of a chuckle out of it.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. So yeah, I definitely highly recommend this one for a rental, if nothing else, because it is different, and you may just love it like we did. So yes, moving on to our retro review of the evening, and this is a film that's overlooked quite a bit. So I mean, we can kind of actually do a regular review of it, and that is Phantom of the Opera, the 1989. Dwight Little directed film starring Robert Englund, and this follows an aspiring opera singer who finds herself transported back to Victorian-era London and into the arms of a reclusive, disfigured maestro determined to make her a star. The silver-throated Christine, played by Jill Schulin of Popcorn and The Stepfather, enjoys success through the arrangements of her new lover, played by Englund, until she realizes that she has been committing unspeakably grisly murders in her honor. He has been committing unspeakably grisly murders in her honor, and won't stop until he's completed his masterpiece, In Blood. So I'm a huge fan of this one. Todd, where do you stand with this? I don't think we've ever really talked about it.
I am too. This is my favorite version of Phantom of the Opera. I've had it since the initial release, the theatrical poster for this one. I'm a huge fan of it, favorite version of the tale. It definitely was overlooked for quite a few years, as they actually mentioned on the extras. But, I think I even still have the VHS tape on this one, too, not to mention, DVD and now the wonderful new Blu-ray. So I've always been a fan of this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the thing that really, looking back at Robert Englund's filmography during his Nightmare on Elm Street years, if you look at it, a lot that he did was not particularly strong, particularly some of his other horror work at that particular time. And this is like the shining example of something that was just absolutely brilliant. I mean, and they talk about it in the special features, but I really enjoyed the fact that this is really a Hammer homage with kind of 80s style gore and makeup. I thought it blended really, really well. It's a shame that this didn't become a franchise. And again, they talk about a lot of this in the making of segment, which was pretty extensive. And it's just a shame we didn't get it. I mean, it's very different. I mean, obviously they're milking the whole Freddy Krueger thing in the advertising and everything for this film, which I think is a shame because it's very different from Freddy. He's a very bloodthirsty, but at the same time he has his sympathetic moments. It's kind of Robert Englund's classic horror performance. I think he probably, actually I know he does because I've heard him talk about it at different conventions, thinks very highly of this. Everything from the sets to the actors, which I should throw out there, Bill Nye, who of course went on to make a huge mark in the horror genre with Shaun of the Dead, the Underworld films, I, Frankenstein, and other recent releases.
Love
Actually, yes. I'm sure everybody listening is a huge fan of Love Actually, but yeah, he went on to be quite a famous British actor. I don't know that he was really that big at this point. I don't know, but this is a great film. If you haven't seen it, I mean, again, Scream's putting it out. You definitely want to check it out. It gives Robert Englund a chance to do something much, much different. Jill Schulin, another person who was just fantastic. I wish she had done even more work in the genre.
Which I do want to mention, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's in our archives because it was before on our old show that we were part of Creepshow Radio, but it was before it became the Horror Society. We had Jill Selin on as a guest, and she talked about this, and she was really, really big fan of, minus the gore, the film. I got to find out a way if we can get that up on some of the catalogs. So, because there were some good interviews. I mean, Brian and some of the other hosts over there, and I know Chris is still friendly with Horse Side. We gotta work on that, because I hope that stuff's just not lost.
Yeah, I think you can go back, because on Blog Talk, I believe they're all still alive, so you can go back and listen to the Horror Theater Radio stuff, because I know Louis Paul, who used to work with us. A lot of people know him, from his writing, and he's also the interviewer for Chiller, if you attend the Chiller conventions. He interviewed David Hess in one of the last interviews with Hess. It might actually be the last. I don't know, but he passed not too long after that interview. We had Jill Shulin. We were able to find Bruce Pittman, who talked about Prom Night 2. We didn't do a lot in the way of interviews, but we did have some really strong ones back in the day. We did have that train wreck one with from, I'm forgetting the actor's name, but from Scarecrows, where we did that. I don't know, were you on that commentary?
I was not, but I've heard quite a few stories about that one.
Oh, God, he I don't know why he agreed to do it, because he was like so successful outside of movies, but somehow Chris was able to sweet talk him into doing a commentary. But he thought so low of that movie that it was like the weakest commentary ever. You could hear like birds chirping, and we just couldn't keep it alive because Scarecrows is such a cerebral kind of atmospheric movie. So there's not really a lot to comment on, but nonetheless, that was a big first, because people really hadn't talked about it. The DVD didn't have extras, so yeah, side discussion. But yeah, we do have cool shit from way back when. But yeah, back on this, the gore's great. I'm sorry, what?
I was just saying, we can't forget it stars a young Molly Shannon of Saturday Night Live fame. Before she was Superstar, yes, Molly Shannon was in this. I thought that was cool. It's like I said, it delivers for everybody. I mean, it delivers for the slasher fans. I think it delivers for those of you who enjoy the classic horror, Hammer horror. It works on so many levels, and I think actually, I mean, I'm not going to say I like it more than Nightmare on Elm Street or anything like that, but I think this is probably arguably Robert Englund's best acting that I think he's ever done. I mean, and that's saying a lot, because I think he's a pretty fantastic actor. I think he did an excellent job with this. And if you've never seen it, which I know, believe it or not, I know quite a few people that apparently haven't, I think it's well worth picking up the Scream Factory Blu-ray. And yeah, strangely enough, I think this came out, and they talk about it in the special features, right at the same time that Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera was coming out, and they were very careful not to duplicate anything from that movie. So it's great music, great score, and I think a pretty good package too. Todd, what did you think of the extras? I was, because it was not a labeled collector's edition. The featurette, which pretty much has a lot of all the major players for this one. I mean, no Bill Nighy or anything, but it was 27 minutes. It was very action-packed, informational. There was also a commentary on the disc too, which is worth mentioning. I did enjoy the fact that the featurette, or the documentary, however you would like to word it, was dedicated to the late great Cannon mogul, whose last company, 21st Century, produced it. And that is Mehem Golan from Golan Globus. So I thought it was a classic move. They dedicated to him, because he has just recently passed. And I'm a huge Cannon fan, always been. 21st Century stuff is cool too. I did kind of, I guess another little bit of side discussion, because we do talk about the planned sequel, Phantom of Manhattan, and in typical canon fashion, that was in the trade ads forever. But I know the one thing they didn't talk about, I was kind of a little disappointed in the extras. The one thing they didn't talk about was how that movie morphed into what is now known as Dance Macabre, also starring Robert Englund, taking place in Manhattan. And because that was basically what Phantom Manhattan morphed into. But they didn't discuss that or any of the issues with that. But maybe we'll get
too.
Okay, so I'm sure, you knew the stories about that too. But I don't know, maybe we'll get a Dance Macabre surprise Blu-ray and we'll get that story.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe they're holding off. Wasn't that actually, though, released in some places as Phantom of the Opera, too? I could be wrong, but I seem to recall.
I don't know if it ever actually was when it shocked me in that era, because I know they had the ads. I've seen the ones from the Variety for Phantom of the Opera 2. I've seen the ones for Phantom of Manhattan. I don't know. I'm sure it's completely possible it got released under that title in some territories, but that's one that's one that's kind of got lost. I mean, we've never got a legit DVD or anything of that one. Just the VHS is the last U.S. release.
Yeah, that's true. That's another popular bootleg floating around there. I don't know if we'll ever see that on Blue or not, but hopefully, I think, isn't this, I believe, Scream's last year where they have the rights to the MGM stuff? I could be wrong, but isn't it?
I want to say, I mean, I've heard rumblings about that, but I mean, unless they opted to do more, because I mean, basically MGM's sending that catalog off to whoever wants it. I know Olive's, staked its claim, which is why we're getting Firewalker. Kino staked a claim, which is why we're getting quite a few different titles from them. A lot of the canon stuff's coming from them because MGM holds half the canon catalog. And then we have Scream Factory. So I don't know the future of the MGM catalog. I have heard it is going to expire, but it doesn't mean they won't re-up it,
Okay.
And I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know who holds Dance Macabre. It might be MGM. I could have honestly seen them dumping that one in a multi-pack, but they haven't.
Yeah, I wanted to say MGM, but then I wasn't sure. I'm trying to remember. I don't have time to dig up my copy of that, but
I want to say it's Sony.
Funny. What's your opinion of that movie?
I'm not a huge fan. I mean, it is what it is, and I want to say stories are right. It started life as the actual sequel, and then it got changed throughout. I know it was a problem shoot, problems with it, writing on the fly. I haven't watched it probably 20 years, so I remember liking it then, but I have a feeling if I watch it today, it's not going to hold up. I mean, it was no Phantom of the Opera, but that was the point. No. Like, ooh, it's got Robert Englund. I liked it. Well, maybe I won't now.
Yeah. I don't remember hating it. I don't remember loving it. Like I said, Phantom of the Opera is really the shining star. Really up until, Englund, he didn't make a lot of great horror movies in between. Of course, he did a lot of TV work, of course, Adventures of Ford Fairlane and whatnot. But his horror output, really up until when he did 2001 Maniacs, really was not overly strong. So this is definitely, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. For me, I love this film. I give it 5 stars. I don't know, maybe but I watching it again, I'm like, it stands out very well, I think. It's not a movie that everybody loves, but hey, I do. And as far as the packaging goes, I think it's very strong. I give it 4 stars. Not the best that Scream's ever done, but it's certainly delivered. I would have liked to have heard about Danse Macabre. That was one thought that crossed my mind, and I'm not sure why they didn't say something about it. But
that's my only hope, is they're holding something back. I agree. Movie 5, packaging. Yeah, I'd give it a 4. And I mean, with stuff, and that's not saying that the featurette wasn't great. It was. It's just that it left us wanting a little bit more. I mean, more interviews are always welcome. It's not it's not like Robert Englund was missing. There was no lack of participants. So that's we're just being honest content wise. You had about a half hour plus the commentary. Left you wanting a little more, which in some cases is good, but in extra,
we didn't get that Molly Shannon commentary track.
Yes, maybe next time. Although we should mention, it also had of course the theatrical trailer and the TV spots and a great photo gallery too. So
yeah,
I don't think we're missing anything on that one. Yeah,
definitely.
So go pick it up.
We definitely recommend this one. It's a childhood favorite, and revisiting it again, I think it holds up very well. So, yes, moving on to, we don't have any more reviews, but we do have TV Terror Talk. As always, if you haven't watched the recent episode of Walking Dead, this is spoilers, so don't bitch at us. People still bitch once in a while, and I always say at the beginning, TV Terror Talk saved for the end for a reason. It is spoiler talk. Just in case we get cut off, I don't think we will this time, but just in case, I just want to throw out for next week, and Todd, forgive me if I don't remember them all, we have a pretty stacked review show next week. I think I don't want to jinx it by saying it's stronger, but on paper it reads as a lot stronger. I know we have reviews for Zombie World, Amityville Death House, Tater City. We're going to have some retro Blu-ray reviews for New Year's Evil. God Told Me To, correct, Todd?
Yes, that sounds like that's also.
Okay, and I think we have a couple others. Next week is a pretty stacked review show, so it was a bit lacking in terms of quality this week, but that's how it goes. And hell, at least you know now. You won't waste your money. So yes, Walking Dead. Todd, what did you think this week? Kind of getting closer to a new sanctuary.
Yeah, I like this week, and I know the big one of the bigger news bits was the Ash zombie that everyone was excited about in the zombie bridge scene, which I was like, yeah, that is pretty cool. It was a good episode. It's for me, it's always hard to review the TV episodes because I feel like I don't know the whole story yet. But I saw this one, moved us on more and kind of getting ready to set up some new characters and, the fallout from last week's episode and how, some people are dealing with it.
Everybody's kind of really beaten down, I think, more than ever before. Kind of a very, spiritual last couple of episodes in a lot of ways. From Rick stating, that he wishes, he thinks it's actually good that Carl's growing up in this world and getting used to it, and maybe doesn't quite remember the old world so much. I think it's a very powerful episode. It's another one where a lot of people have been harping. It's like, I want more zombie action, but they tend to be a pretty insatiable crowd. You can never have a build episode. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought the Michonne Sasha cat fight that was brewing is pretty interesting. I think Sasha's going to lose that one. I like I said, I really enjoyed this. It was kind of almost had that dreary post-apocalyptic road feel back that I think the show is very strong when they're on the road, and this is no exception. I almost am perfectly fine if they stretch it out and they don't get to this sanctuary right away. I know there's interesting things coming with, they're in the comics, they're called the Saviors. I don't know what they'll be called in here, but it's definitely coming, where we're going to meet our new supervillain that is really the last supervillain in the comics, so there's a strong question of maybe how much longer Walking Dead might go. You're not aware of any comic spoilers, right, Todd?
I am not, and I do want to apologize if there's a bit of weird buzz going on. I'm trying to figure out what it is, but it seems to have disappeared as soon as I mentioned it.
Oh, okay. I don't think it's. I've had a lot of homicidal cat noises, I think, during the show today, and that's my bad. I don't hear anything buzzing, but if we do, we apologize. But, yeah, I really dug this one. I was actually, at first I thought the whole storm scene was a dream sequence. I didn't think it actually happened, so I was kind of surprised when they, because they kind of had cut to them sleeping, and I was like, oh, okay, that didn't happen. And the whole storm thing. It's been a very surreal kind of dreamlike vibe in the last couple of episodes, and I've enjoyed it. I think this has been a pretty strong season, and I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. I mean, Negan supposedly is the big badass villain, but there's not been any casting news, so I have a feeling if he shows up, it's not going to be until the end of this season. But Todd, what do you hope to see in the last, really only 6 episodes now, I believe, to go?
Yeah, that's a difficult question, because I don't really know what because I'm liking what I'm seeing right now. They said, tone-wise, it's going to be different, and it feels like it's been different. I think different is good, so they don't get stale. I'm kind of interested to see where things are going to go with this, and if we're going to stay on this kind of weird, like you mentioned, dreamlike tone. But I know it's been mentioned, I believe it's been mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, that we're supposed to expect some more bloodshed this season from the cast, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm not totally up to date on the comics, but there is someone who dies that's at it right now. I won't say anything, but there have been more than a few hints dropped about it, but something tells me that's one thing that they may not end up doing. I don't know. It might end up being somebody else that, much like Bob's death was Dale's death in the comics, and they do tend to juggle some things. So we will see. I look forward to what we got going this season. Oh yeah, absolutely. And trying to think, the Strain should be coming back soon, shouldn't it?
I don't remember when it started. I think we still have some more time. Okay. I did finally finish because remember I was behind, so I am all caught up, ready for next season. So now you got to catch up on Z Nation so we can talk that next year. Yeah, I'm very surprised to hear that the Z Nation has a second season coming. What did you think of Z Nation when at the end of season 1? I mean, how would you rank that show in general? Oh, jeez. It's definitely just a popcorn zombie show. I think ranking it on the modern horror, television show scale, it's working with some strong contenders. But as even some of the sci-fi series I know are very popular. I liked it. I mean, it delivered where Walking Dead didn't on some things, and I do like that they beat them to the punch on a few things that I think they knew were coming. And their their cure, I guess, was something different that I hadn't, seen. And basically, he's a zombie that's not a zombie, I guess. Yeah, I did enjoy it. I don't know, did you end up finishing it? I know you would, caught it here and there. I don't know if you're all up to date.
I watched the first few episodes, and apparently the ratings were horrible. Obviously, they must have improved. And I just thought, you know what, I'll probably pick this up on Blu-ray, which they fuck us with Blu-ray. I'm going to get the DVD set, but that just sucks so bad when you have a better version on television and they're not giving you a Blu-ray.
I know.
But it is one I'm going to pick up.
And I can go watch it on Netflix in HD, which, I'm like, well, so why should I buy it? Other than for archival purchases. Yeah.
I mean, I will buy it as a hardcore collector. It's just I'm not going to pay full price.
That's what I said. Other than, for guys like us who want it for archival purchases, because, tangible media doesn't disappear offline like Netflix does, okay, there's no more Z Nation,
That's true. I think it's something definitely worth picking up. And as I talked on the show months and months ago when this came out, I don't think there's anything wrong with popcorn shows, be they sci-fi, horror, or whatever. I think we have so many fantastic series, and it's something that's been kind of revolutionary, because if you remember, I don't know how to put an exact timeline on it, but 7-8 years ago, whatever, where, reality show, well, probably more like a decade now, where reality shows had almost completely taken over TV. There were people, I remember actually a conversation with Dale Midkiff, horror fans will know from Pet Sematary, at a convention about how, he was very frank about it, how his career suffered so bad because all these reality shows were taking over everything. And all of a sudden we kind of get that revolution of genuinely compelling shows. Breaking Bad was one that really paved the way, very serious show. Of course, Walking Dead, True Blood, Game of Thrones, even, kind of getting into the more popcorn realm of just really great dramas. Whatever they were about, they were great dramas and very compelling stories. And that kind of turned the tide. But a lot of people forget pre-reality, in the late 90s in particular, there was so many great popcorn shows, from Cleopatra 2525 to Jack of All Trades, Beastmaster, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Lost World. There was some horror stuff out there like D versus E. Mm-hmm.
You can't forget the top of the popcorn syndication list, and that's Hercules and Xena.
Absolutely, yeah. Nothing deep about those shows at all, but they were just fun. And I don't see anything wrong with that. Bring back some of those great and by I'm not trying to imply that these are stupid shows. They weren't. I remember just sitting down and watching, Lost World and Beastmaster, that series they had, and a lot of stuff produced in New Zealand at the time, and just having a blast. It was just good old-fashioned fun, and I'm cool with that. I'd like to see more stuff like Z Nation, where it's not necessarily some gritty, realistic survival story like Walking Dead, but just a fun, popcorn show. Why not? And there's still a market for that, I think. I don't think everything has to be, super serious. And again, I love Breaking Bad. I love, all those shows that I mentioned. But bring back the popcorn shows. We miss them. Maybe Z Nation, if it's doing well enough, will spark that again. Not everything has to be a super serious drama. Give us She-Wolf of London, Friday the 13th, the series. Those were all fantastic shows.
It's weird. It just seems like the syndication market's completely died. I definitely think something like Z Nation would have been one of those syndication shows. It's like no one wants to spend the money. A lot of stuff's produced in-house, or they're only picking up stuff. Because you were, like, Saturdays and Sundays, it was flooded with great syndicated shows on, in the 90s. And, I mean, even bad ones, Freddy's Nightmares, but we still watch them. And, yeah, you don't see that anymore. I mean, I don't know if it's, people don't want to spend the money, but, I mean, you look at Sam Raimi was doing a lot of those, the Hercules, the Xenas. I want to say Beastmaster also, but I'm not 100%. But because of all the cable and stuff, so, I mean, look, he took Spartacus to Stars. I mean, a lot of those people that would have been doing the syndication stuff, it seems like they're finding other avenues. I mean, Paramount, to Friday the 13th, Star Trek: The Next Generation, syndicated shows. I believe Deep Space Nine. They were all syndicated up until Enterprise, and that was UPN, which was basically just the modern day syndication. Was UPN and even CW or WB at the time.
Were you a Lex fan? Oh, that was sci-fi, but it started out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of that stuff I didn't catch. Like, I didn't catch Cleopatra until the DVD release came out. And I was like, this looks interesting. I saw the air. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to pick it up as a blind buy and check it out. So there's a lot I didn't. Andromeda was probably one of the longest running syndicated shows that I was actually a really big fan of.
That was a great show. It last season had started to falter a bit, but yeah, that was a great show. And the strange thing is, being WWE fans, everybody's like, let's cater to the younger audience. And at least from what I'm seeing, there's not a lot out there for, pre-teens like there was in the late 90s, into the early 2000s with these series. I mean, there really isn't anything, for people that don't want to sit down and have their kids, be exposed to the explicit sex and violence and stuff like Game of Thrones and Spartacus. There isn't a Lost World or a Beastmaster right now for that audience. So I think it's something that they really haven't tapped into. And, all the ones that we really mentioned, for the most, even the horror series, I mean, like Friday the 13th, there was nothing too extreme in that for a younger audience. Lex is a bit more on the innuendo and sex front, but all of those shows were just fantastic, and it's an era of television that has died, and I'm just so saddened that it hasn't come back. I don't know why. I mean, these were fairly low-budget shows. They really weren't super well, Xena and Hercules, I think, towards the end, kind of had healthier budgets, but they were just good old-fashioned adventure fun and escapism, and I hope that we get that again. And I shouldn't say just late 90s. I mean, there were other examples going back to, like, Briscoe County Jr., again, Bruce Campbell being a big part of that.
That was,
I don't know.
That was a network show, remember.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that's true, because I remember watching
they were barely
here, and it was like right after X-Files or right before X-Files, I think. But
they were barely a network then. I mean, but even X-Files, I mean, that was, a little bit more serious, but I mean, it wasn't, explicit and out there. I mean, but it was definitely one you had, it was very serialized, and that's, you could pop on an episode of Hercules or Xena or a lot of that stuff, and you didn't have to, have seen every episode before. You could just kind of catch up to what's going on.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's maybe we'll see that again. I don't know. I like I said, Z Nation, I can't totally judge that show because I really only watched the first few episodes, but it definitely felt like a return to that when you just want something light. You don't want to, sit down and watch, Boardwalk Empire or something, which again, fantastic, or something like that. Or Lost. That was probably one of the first really complex genre shows at the turn of the millennium. And maybe we'll get that. A Sci-Fi Channel has a few that kind of fit that sort of tone that we used to have. Lost Girls, kind of a bit of a popcorn show, and there's a few like that. But yes, interesting little side discussion. I think we're just about out of time, so I guess rather than going into the archives, we will say goodnight to you guys. Todd, do you have anything to add before we cut out?
Yeah, I guess hopefully you're downloaded us or listening. If you're listening to us live, thank you, or downloaded us off Blog Talk. Don't forget you can also download us on iTunes now, and all the archives of the past shows and our Horror Society's other flagship show, The Calling Hours, which is on Tuesday. So don't forget to listen to them also. I'm trying to think if we have anything else. I mean, we already have some good stuff planned for next week, and some other stuff planned coming up. I guess, we're just trying to wrap it up and tell you guys good night. Dan?
Just keep your fingers crossed that next week is better. And, again, for you, we won't go into a side wrestling discussion, but I will say Seth Rollins, Jon Stewart, WrestleMania. I'm calling it.
And Dan's going to go tinker with his stinker, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I guess we're out of here. Good night, y'all.
Good night, guys.
It's here.
Hello?
Have you checked the children?
They're all hot dolls.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
I'm afraid.
Don't be afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Gingy. Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. Gentlemen, I am pain.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Bill says he loves the new Pepper Jack Ranch spicy chicken sandwich he's eating right now. He also says the spicy pepper jack cheese and spicy ranch sauce packs a lot of heat. And the spicy all-white meat chicken fillet is delicious. He either said this is the most amazing chicken sandwich or I'm an incredibly handsome and well-spoken leader. All right, it was the chicken. The Pepper Jack Ranch Spicy Chicken Sandwich. Only at Jack in the Box. Limited time only at participating restaurants.